Have you ever been on those calls when the person you're speaking to either has almost nothing to say or says very little, or they just speak way too much to the point where you can't even fit a question or even a single word in there? Hi, I'm Chris Freeman, the Closer Clients One, and in this video I'm going to be answering the question, how do you control your sales calls better? And before I get into that, I just want to say that normally most people actually have the problem where they either struggle with those who speak very little, either because they're not very confident in themselves when they speak to others, whether it's in person or over the phone, or maybe they just don't trust you enough yet, and that's one issue that you have to overcome. Or maybe that the question you've asked is maybe a really good question, or they're just maybe very naturally confident, so they just slur everything out, and it becomes this tidal wave of information, and most of the time it's not really that helpful, and it just takes you further and further away from where you need to be. If that's you, then I completely understand, because that's the thing I've been struggling with more recently than anything else. My problem is that the people I'm speaking to don't speak a lot. They speak way too much. I mean, there's a certain point where my mentor has said that the person who's asking the questions is the person in control of the conversation, but it gets to the point where even if you ask good questions, they can speak way too much. So the first thing that I had to look back is to the start of the call, which is setting your agenda. And that's the first point, is if you set your agenda properly, then you're going to be able to get better answers from whichever question that you ask. And the way you should set an agenda is just to state at the very beginning, in a relaxed and friendly manner, that this call is, that the purpose of this call is to see if we can work together, or we can collaborate, or we can do business. The language or the very specific words that you use really depends on the people you talk to and whatever you're selling. So the way you speak to businesses is going to be very different to the way you speak to a customer, B2C and B2B. So yes, you state what the intention of the call is, see if you can collaborate. And if not, then let's say if you're speaking to a potential partner and you just want to get to know them, okay, one of the first things you need to state is that it isn't just business, because one great person once said that most people use the relationship to get the deal. What they forget is that the relationship with the person is the deal. So you must always specify that that the call is to get to know them better and to see if they're the right fit for what you have and what they're looking for. So once you've set your agenda, it just changes the entire shift of a conversation. It's the difference between, say, if you're having a conversation with a friend and they come in all, I don't know, really moody or angry or whatever, or even if it's a new person, they come in all moody, angry and sad. That's one kind of conversation. But if they come in like all really pumped up or really excited, really friendly, it just changes the entire tone of the conversation. Same as if you're going to a convention or a music festival or musical event compared to a classroom. When you enter a conversation, you need to know, or you need to set the right agenda, because that makes the conversation so much easier. And you feel more confident, more in control, and so does the person you're speaking to, because it helps to develop that trust. They don't feel that you're hiding behind any sleazy tactics, or you don't have some ulterior motive to get them on the call. So setting the right agenda, setting it correctly, helps those who don't speak too much to kind of become more confident over the call and to trust you a little bit better. And for those who speak too much, to be able to think, okay, then when they think about the question that you're asking them, they're going to think back to that agenda, not just give you like 100 million different details. The second thing is that you need to have a set of questions that are going to help you to stay on track. Questions, say, at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Questions for when you're kind of stuck because they're not speaking much, or they don't seem very, like their needs don't seem to be very high. Maybe it isn't very urgent. What they want isn't very urgent. Or maybe they're just speaking way too much, and you need to find a way of getting conversation back on track. You need to have a specific set of questions that you can go to, like maybe post-it notes, okay, to help remind you. Because I promise you there's going to be times during the call when maybe you've even blanked out, or maybe you just don't know what to do. And once you start thinking too much in your mind, like what do I do, what do I do, what do I do, you miss those little bits that could help you change the entire conversation when the person is speaking or when they're not, because it just pulls you away from the conversation itself, and you kind of lose that engagement with them. So make sure you have a set of questions and you learn how to say them naturally. Practice them again and again and again to the point where it feels natural, and then continuously practice them some more. Not only just in those sales calls, but just practice it with people you speak to, maybe your friends, your family, your partners, or new people. Whoever it is, try to practice. Even do it in front of a mirror if you have to. Or go over the sales calls that you've recorded and identify moments when you could have said that, and then say it during then as if you're back in that call. And the third and final point is that you need to set deadlines of what you want to achieve during the call, each stage of the call. For example, you don't want your intro to last any more than a few minutes. You don't want your agenda to last like 10, 15 minutes. You want it to last a few minutes at most. For example, if I have a 45-minute call, then I want to spend the first 30 minutes getting to know that person and to identify their pains, and if they don't have any, then help to increase that sense of urgency or whatever else that I need in order to spend the next 15 minutes or the final 15 minutes getting into the details of what I'm selling to whoever I'm talking to, because I know that it's going to take me around 15 minutes to get through all the details of what I'm selling, and if I'm talking to a potential partner, then to get into the details of what they're selling, because there's going to be quite a few questions. And if I spend too long talking about them, their childhood, their pains, or their goals, or whatever it is, and I spend like 40 minutes of a 45-minute call, then to talk about the details in 5 minutes and to sell whatever it is you're selling, it just becomes very rushed. And if you try to rush it at the end, you're going to fluster yourself, you're going to stumble. And when you're going over the details, if you're stumbling or whatever, it basically kills all the trust and the momentum that you've built earlier in the call. So you need to better control the calls by better managing yourself during the calls, by setting deadlines, by saying, by the half an hour, if I haven't got to the point where I can start moving on to the details, then I need to do that within the next few minutes. I need to start doing that now. So that is how you better control your sales calls, by setting up the agenda better, by having a set of questions that can help you to put the conversation in the right directions, because sometimes you can veer off course, and then to set deadlines of what you want to accomplish by the first few minutes or the 30th minute, whatever it is. For me, I have about 2 to 3. Actually, no, I have 2 set times that I will keep to of what I want to accomplish during a 45-minute call. And also helps to record your call so that you can identify that yourself. Anyway, that is this video, and if you liked it, then give it a thumbs up or subscribe down below and comment and let me know what you thought. And tell me, what kind of video do you want to see from me in the future? What would you like to learn? Let me know, and I read every comment. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.